Most of our experiences of happiness involve the fulfillment of some desire. We have a desire for something, whether consciously or unconsciously. And when that desire is fulfilled, we feel happy. But is it the object or the situation or the experience that makes us happy? Or is there something else going on? Most of the time, until that desire is fulfilled, we feel dissatisfied. We feel unhappy to some degree. But is it because the desire has not yet been fulfilled, or is it the desire itself which is causing us to feel unhappy? Because when you get the thing you desire, the desire drops away. We're relieved of it. And perhaps what we generally think of as happiness is simply the feeling of relief that comes when our desire dissipates. Or perhaps what we call happiness is something which is always there in us, always available. But desire gets in the way of it. Perhaps what we call happiness is that which is experienced in the absence of desire. But if we think that the only way to get free of desire is to fulfill it, then we're setting ourselves up for a life of unhappiness. Because what happens when you can't fulfill a desire? So long as it goes unfulfilled, you go on feeling unhappy, which means in some cases you could go on feeling unhappy for the rest of your life. And even when a desire is fulfilled, notice how the happiness doesn't last. It isn't long before we're desiring something else. Whatever it is that we've acquired, we feel happy for a little while, but then the happiness begins to dissipate. Even if we still have the object or experience or whatever it happens to be, it no longer seems to fulfill us. And so we go looking for the next thing. If we mistake the object as the source of our happiness, we can find ourselves deeply disappointed when it doesn't satisfy us. Or in some cases, we become very attached because we think this object is the source of my happiness. I need to hold on to it. I need to protect it. But in that attachment, there is fear. The fear of losing the thing that we think makes us happy. And that fear causes us to feel anxious and agitated. And as soon as we feel anxious and agitated, we're no longer happy. In either case, having the object we desire doesn't tend to make us happy in the long term. And so we're always chasing after something else, something more, something different. We're always chasing the next thing, the next experience. And in the meantime, we're unhappy because most of the time we have unfulfilled desires. We have moments of happiness here and there whenever some desire is fulfilled, but we spend more time desiring something than we do having that desire fulfilled. So it would seem that desire is what is causing us to feel unhappy much of the time. And what we call happiness is simply the feeling of relief that comes when desire drops away. So the question is there a way to be relieved of desire without necessarily having to fulfill it. First of all, what is desire? If I'm desiring something, it means I'm not satisfied with the way things currently are. Whether I'm desiring an object or a situation or an experience, I want something to be different. Or to put it another way, I have an aversion to the way things are. We may not realize it, but desire and aversion are two sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand. Because in order to move towards something, you have to move away from something else. It's the same motion. Moving toward and moving away are both happening simultaneously. And so wherever there is a desire, there is also an aversion. And so what might be helpful, perhaps, is to look at the aversion. What is it that I'm dissatisfied with? What is it that I'm resisting? What is it that I'm rejecting? What is it that I'm trying to avoid or escape? And there's something about my life, my situation, my circumstances that I don't like. And perhaps I have good reason not to like it. There may be some things which are particularly unpleasant, stressful, harmful, or hazardous. And it may do me well to change those things. But how often do I find myself dissatisfied with things which are not in any way problematic? How often do I find myself dissatisfied with things simply because I take them for granted? Perhaps I've gotten so accustomed to things being as they are that I have forgotten. Or perhaps I've never even known what it's like to be without them. And so I don't appreciate what I have. I don't acknowledge the value in what I have. How many things in our lives do we take for granted? Most of us, I assume, probably have all sorts of conveniences in life that we are so accustomed to that we don't realize just how fortunate we are. Probably you live in a house or an apartment with electricity, with heating and air conditioning. You probably have running water. You probably have access to a whole variety of food. Whatever kind of food you desire, you can probably have it delivered right to your door. You probably go to sleep at night in a soft bed. And yet, you can have all of this and still feel deeply dissatisfied. I think that a great deal of our unhappiness comes from our failing to appreciate what we have in life. And when you think about how you feel happy when a desire is fulfilled, in that moment there is appreciation. When you get the thing that you've been wanting, you appreciate it, you value it, you feel grateful. So the question is, can we feel grateful for what we already have? Why should we reserve our gratitude only for those moments when we get something new or different? Why can't we feel gratitude all of the time, just by acknowledging those things that we already have and appreciating them? Can we take a little time each day to just redirect our attention to what we have available in our lives already, and to acknowledge the value in those things? And this isn't to say that we never change or improve anything or acquire anything new, but just to look at what you already have and to really take time to appreciate it. When you sit down to eat, to appreciate the food that you're eating, When you lay down to sleep to appreciate having a bed to sleep in and a roof over your head. Whatever you're doing at any moment, chances are there's something to appreciate. It's just that we've gotten so accustomed to looking for what seems to be missing that we overlook what we already have. And so we might have to make a little bit of effort to redirect our attention, to take notice of what is fortunate in our lives. And there are plenty of things in life to be grateful for. And when we feel grateful, we feel satisfied. When you're content, you're no longer desiring anything. And in that absence of desire, in that state of appreciation, we experience happiness.